Music jokes. I got nothing. Oh, good.
Hey guys, welcome to Hell If I Know, episode 6. I thought last week was episode 6. I have now been corrected when I was uploading it. I realized that it wasn't. That was just episode 5. I've just known Mac for so long that I assume everything we do goes on for much longer than it should. So
That is not a gay joke, but
that
there's
is
tons
not a
to be
gay
made.
joke. There's a lot to be made there. Welcome to Hell If I Know podcast, episode 6. This week, we're doing another countdown episode. We're only 6 episodes in. We're running out of ideas. We're back to an original idea of doing a countdown. Today, it is the top 5 video game soundtracks as ranked by both of us, and completely subjective, so you'll hate all of our choices, and we don't give a damn.
Just because your opinion's wrong doesn't mean you're right. What?
That was, wow. Okay, so...
English is hard. Shut the
English
fuck
is
up.
fucking hard.
Let's hop
dude.
right into it.
Let's hop right into it here. Mac, your number 5 selection. Now, to be fair, this was made... I was looking this up because originally my idea was top 5 movie soundtracks of all time.
Yeah.
Or top 5 films of all time, which anyone who tries to rank the top 5 films of all time is just asking for hell because I Googled it today. And as far as recognized long-run narrative films are concerned, there's been 550,000 or so made in the course of film history. So you're choosing 100. Okay, so 1/20,000th of a total population. So that's not really fair.
Yeah.
So, but whatever. We're choosing top 5 video game soundtracks because that's way fucking easier. Mac,
And by way fucking easier, I mean we can do this, within a 30-minute time limit.
as was shown today on my lunch break. So, Mac, your first selection, your number 5, and these are in no particular order. For me, they're in no particular order. I'm not like ranking them by weight. I just picked out 5 and put them on a list.
Yeah, I wouldn't say mine are in
Weighted.
any particular order, except for this one, Halo 3. I don't need to say anything other than that of why that one's good. So
Halo
yours
3 is on my list as well, so I'll just lead off with that one as well. Did you see actually today, what made me think of this was I was looking up news. The composer for the Halo franchise left 343 Industries.
Really?
He cited that he just wanted to move on and try other things. So the guy that composed some of the greatest gaming soundtracks of all time is no longer with that company. So Auf Wiedersehen, and good luck. But I mean, Halo 3 just the opening theme, just with the Gregorian chant style stuff, was
Yep.
That was like you felt invested in that game and you hadn't even played it yet. Was how good it was.
Yep.
So that is definitely going to make any top list I think of all time.
Yeah,
Mac.
I think any Halo game. Halo 3 just sticks out.
Halo 3 definitely sticks out, and a lot of the music was similar. I think, like Reach was a little bit different because it was a prequel, so they try.
Yeah.
I think they tried to make it its own identity. But I thought like even Halo 4, like the music in the Halo games has just seamlessly stuck to those plots, and it works with them. It's not overbearing. It's not loud. It's not like meant like some other games are to be an identity in the game. It's just like it's a really symbiotic part of the whole experience.
Yeah.
So it works really well. You're number 4, Mac.
Number 4, I'm gonna go with Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and I honestly probably could have picked any Assassin's Creed game for these reasons. When you jump in, the soundtrack actually makes you feel like you're in that era. But I think what put Black Flag above the others was the shanties when you're on the ship.
The shanties are pretty good.
That was always fun as shit to try to collect them all, like Pokemon.
The shanties were pretty awesome.
Yep.
I like that. Now looking, I don't know if I'd put it on my list, but it's definitely an honorable mention for me with the shanties because it's an intense. That's like it could have just been like tin whistle music they put in there, but the fact that your crew can like when you go to a port or when you collect a certain one, you know what I mean, you get certain shanties. That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
that
like
made it really worth it.
Drunken Sailor. That's a lit song.
Drunken
By the way.
Sailor's a good one. Bully in the Alley's a really good one.
Randy Dandio.
Randy Dandio's a good one too.
Another good one. I actually bought a few songs from the soundtrack for my actual personal collection.
My number 4 is which one do I pick off my list next? I'm gonna pick Minecraft off my list next. I feel like that is a soundtrack where the game is very simple, and I get Minecraft's not simple. People will argue that. What I mean is by a game by design that is very simple and very basic in design and visuals and gameplay. The music for that game was just complicated enough that it was good, but just simplistic enough that it still related.
Yeah.
Like a lot of simplistic indie games I've noticed get these like overture soundtracks where it was like we can't pay game developers or we can't pay game designers, but there's a poor musician down the street who's like the next Beethoven and we're gonna make him compose this bullshit. And that's how it turns out. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think Minecraft did the right thing of it's just simple computer music that you could relax to the Minecraft soundtrack anytime you wanted to, and it's never not relaxing to listen to. So that's why I picked the Minecraft soundtrack.
Yep. Minecraft is actually not on my list. But number 3 on my list is Midnight Club 3, the dub edition. Mainly because
our list has not matched up as much as I thought it would.
Yeah, that game, played hours and hours and hours of that game, and that's one of the very few games I always had the radio on with. It actually made you feel like you were in an underground street racing scene, and it made you feel badass, and then you realize you were 13 years old and you're not really badass.
Solid. My number 3, my bad. I'm looking at the numbers I have written, not the numbers we're at. My number 3 is gonna be Super Mario Brothers. Was my number 3 actually? Because if you were talking about a video game theme that without fail anyone in this world knows, the Super Mario Brothers intro theme is probably it. So, as far as like influence and stuff like that, I feel like I had to reference the Mario Brothers theme hands down, and I'm just referencing that first song. But overall, that game, once again, the music feels 8-bit, which is hilarious to me. Like, which it had to kind of honestly for the processing, but I mean, like, when you hear that music, you think 8-bit, and it carries on to all the other games after that. So I really I thought the Super Mario Brothers theme was the best one ever. Definitely.
I enjoyed the shit out of that. Not on my list, but I enjoyed the shit out of that.
All right, Mac.
Number 2.
This is going really fast, by the way.
Yeah. Number 2, Fallout 76.
You know what's funny is I didn't pick Fallout 76 because I didn't think we could pick one off of one fucking song, because that's all we have off that soundtrack.
Off of 76?
Yeah.
I say Fallout 76. I meant to say New Vegas. My bad.
Okay, good. I'm sitting there like, Matt,
my bad.
It's a good version of Country Roads, but come on.
It is.
Like,
I mean, that's the next.
That's on the fucking nose to pick that.
My bad. Wrong game. Fallout New Vegas. It was different setting as well, so I think that added to it. But songs like Spurs that jingle jangle and Big Iron, when you're walking through the wasteland, the doming motherfuckers.
The fucking theme of New Vegas is "Ain't That a Kick in the Head" after you got shot in the fucking head.
Yep, right after you walk into New Vegas.
I will happily report to you that Fallout New Vegas was my pick of all the Fallout games to make this list. I think they all have amazing soundtracks for their time periods that they're trying to focus on. With, like Fallout 3, it was a lot of 40s kind of music. And then with Fallout New Vegas, it was kind of the late 50s, early 60s of that Western vibe, but also like the Rat Pack and the very Vegas kind of big band kind of show. And then Fallout 4 was very much like the rockabilly traveler kind of thing. But as far as where I felt like the music fit it the best, I feel like the New Vegas theme song, the New Vegas radio music fit the game better than any other Fallout game.
Yeah, it really did.
But 76 is going to probably knock it off my list once we hear the rest of that album. But we'll see what other music they pick. To be fair, let's be straight here. Every Fallout game has had an amazing soundtrack, like I said. But just as far as like picking one to go on a list because I didn't want to double down on games in series, that was my pick for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just thought Fallout fit. The New Vegas was the best one out of those choices, as we said.
Yeah.
All right.
And also a lot more music than I think you and I both enjoyed more than.
Yeah, I liked. To be fair, now I've said in a couple of the previous podcasts, and it's still true. Everybody on this Discord server can attest to it. I've been playing the dick out of Fallout 4. And I've been enjoying it because I just really wanted to get back into playing those games because I'd taken a break from them because obviously when you first come out, the way you and I play them is it's like you turn and burn. But then now I'm kind of just doing. I'm also walking a lot more. I'm not fast traveling as much for the random encounters. I really have enjoyed that. Like I walked into a 4-way battle yesterday between. Okay, so I came over a hill, and the Brotherhood of Steel were fighting super mutants, as they do. They eradicate like everything they come across. The Brotherhood of Steel. A group of raiders came over the hill next on the road and attacked. There were 4 of them, one of them in power armor. And then next came a group of Rust Devils. So at one point, from the top of a hill, I can see the Rust Devils, a set of normal raiders, a set of Brotherhood of Steel Knights, and a set of super mutants fighting each other all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting there like, okay, so it happened. Good to know. But yeah, that was my adventures yesterday.
This is how I die.
This is how I die. I just sat on the hill and I picked off the lowest health ones with my 50 cal sniper, because if you deal a lot of damage, they'll all turn on you because they'll automatically deem you the threat. If you just pick off people with no health, they don't notice. Like, it's just like, okay, that guy died. But what is your number 1 pick, Mac, for your list?
Number 1, and this is going to come out of Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life on the GameCube.
Not what I thought you were going to pick.
Yeah. But,
absolutely not what I thought you were going to pick.
Yeah. It's one of those it's one of those soundtracks where every bit of the music is calming and relaxing, and it actually inspires feelings like happiness and sadness depending on what part of the story you're in. And it's and every character has their own music.
I'd give it that. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your thing.
Okay, dog. Oh, good, dog. I was done.
I guess I have to say my number 1 now. My number 1 is the one I thought you would pick, honestly. I'm amazed it wasn't on your list.
Skyrim?
My number 1 is Skyrim. I thought overall, as far as the score goes, just the soundtrack, for the music, for every moment that happened, it was cinematic, it was immersive, it was deep. I thought that overall it was the best soundtrack, one of the best soundtracks I've heard in the last 10 years was the Skyrim soundtrack for The Elder Scrolls V.
Yeah, I would definitely give that an honorable mention. But yeah.
I have a couple honorable mentions that I wrote originally that I ended up not using. But yeah, I thought if there was any list I was going to make of soundtracks that I liked listening to, I've gone back and I mean, like, if I'm at work, I don't listen to worded music, because if you're listening to your, like, if for me, when I'm editing videos at work that are people speaking and stuff like that, I don't like to listen to things with words because it messes me up.
I understand that.
But when I'm editing those kind of things, I'll listen to soundtracks. Like, I listen to movie soundtracks I like, or game soundtracks I like. And the one game soundtrack that comes up a lot is Minecraft was one like I said. But Skyrim was the other. I listen to Skyrim all the time because I like it's not that it's super intense, but it's excited enough that you're not bored listening to it. Like, you're not wishing something would happen. So that's really what I like about listening to it in the background.
I don't remember what I was playing the other day, but I had Pandora going. And, not a sponsored ad, but
not a sponsored ad. Got to make that clear, man. If I can get in trouble.
Fucking the entire soundtrack for Skyrim came on, and I looked over and I'm like, is this playing one after another? No, it was the entire 7-hour soundtrack, and I'm like, holy fuck, okay. And I sat there for all 7 hours listening to it, going, this is dope. I like this.
Okay.
I guess my honorable mention would be there's probably Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto, yeah.
I don't really know if I can classify Grand Theft Auto as a soundtrack, considering it's just there's so many songs.
Yeah, especially GTA 5, where they constantly were updating the playlists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was a different kind of soundtrack where it was more. That was closer to internet radio than any game has probably had in a long time.
Yeah.
For me,
and it was great.
For me, I go back to a nostalgic favorite, which I think I brought it up in our last one, our top 10. I think I brought it up. I really like Medal of Honor Frontline. Now, all the Medal of Honor games, the original World War II ones, not the new ones. The new ones were great, don't get me wrong, but they weren't a Medal of Honor game to me, I guess, in that sense. But the Medal of Honor Frontline, I thought that had a really great soundtrack. And in the game, if you beat the game on certain difficulties, you could unlock behind the scenes what looked like reels. They were actually rendered video reels that you got to watch in a debriefing room. And it talked about the making of the game. They took the game developers out and made them play war games against each other so they understood how combat worked. And they showed them recording it, and it had a lot of I've noticed war films there's two things that war films always use in their soundtracks: voice, choir music, and trumpets. Is the two big ones for me. And I noticed that they had a trumpet in one track, but most of it's just vocal choir music, and that's really cool to me that could be used to convey combat like that. So Medal of Honor Frontline is definitely my major honorable mention that I left off.
I wouldn't even actually thought about the Medal of Honor games.
I also only had like 3 games for my PS2 when I first got it, and that was definitely like the one I played the most. So
yeah.
As I said in the original countdown, I still know the cheat codes to that game. So at me, EA.
No, like literally at him. He wants a job.
Fucking, I'll take it if EA wants it.
I guess that's it.
Yeah, that's gonna be. This one was kind of slow week. Gaming news I saw. Okay, so one thing I saw was, first of all, we talked about this a couple episodes ago. There was the GTA rumor that there was an announcement popping up only on older gen systems, though, that GTA 6 was to be released in 2019. Rockstar's come out and said that's obviously a fucking hoax. We fucking knew that was a hoax. It's not that wild. Another one that I thought was funny, which is because you and I both played RuneScape Classic. RuneScape Classic did a update to their servers, and Jagex was doing an update. And in the update, if you had the right combination of items in your inventory, they don't know why, you were all of a sudden given the max amount of gold you could hold in your inventory at one time. That amount of gold being 2.147 billion gold. That's a max. Bro, that's the max stack you could have.
Hit me the fuck up.
A bunch of users got it, and if you have enough gold in the game, you could turn it over for membership, like Prime membership. A bunch of people did that because they didn't want to pay anymore for membership. If you did that, bad news. If you didn't do that and just had the money, Jagex did a rollback update 20 minutes later. So for like, it went up and this started happening, and I guess they noticed it pretty instantly because it wouldn't be hard to notice. The economy would have been wild for a little while. Yeah. People just buying all the dragon armor they can find.
Why the fuck does this level 1 have a fucking
like the dragon's skin shield or whatever, the dragon's hide shield?
Yeah.
Fucking dragon's breath shield. That's what it was. But so the funniest part of the whole thing to me was, so for 20 minutes the servers were down. Like every server in the world was down. You couldn't play. And then it came back and all of it had been removed. But if you were someone who used the fake gold to try and better your situation, like not buy things in the like in-game economy, but if like you tried to buy membership or turn it over for a profit or whatever, you still can't play. And it looks like they're going to pursue action against those players. So that was a thing that happened recently, and that was kind of funny.
I don't understand why they're taking action against those players.
What they're looking at is not necessarily like, okay, you had a lot of money all of a sudden and you bought like in-game items. That's not a big deal. I believe in RuneScape Classic, and I might be wrong. I might be totally wrong. But there was, like I said, there was a way you could turn, if you earned enough gold in game, you could buy like really nice items that were specific to members, or you could turn it into membership because you'd stayed in game for so long. You could get like member credits for the Jagex website. And because it's not well earned, they were transferring into a monetized currency with ill-gotten gains, basically. Okay. That's where it becomes an issue. Because you knew it wasn't your gold. Like, let's be fucking honest here. If you showed up and you had the max amount of money you could hold in your inventory at one time, you know you didn't get it legitimately. I'm not saying you should snitch and narc, but I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah. Well, I guess at the same time, like, my whole thing is, that was Jagex. That was RuneScape's fuck up. So yeah, I mean, unless they went out and said, "Here, I'm going to sell you this account," I get that. But
it wasn't. The article wasn't super clear, and I also didn't get a chance to really read it because then work picked up again. But it just was a really funny thing because if that had happened when I was in the game, I definitely would have stayed longer. But
because my house would be a lot more dope.
Because I mean, we all spent hours grinding the Grand Exchange. Either a lot of people did Rune Essence. That was my big thing. You know, mining pure Rune Essence.
I fished a lot.
Fish is a good one. You would, if you could cut you right there outside the exchange, was pretty wild. There's always people packed around them fucking trees. But yeah, pretty funny story. I liked it. That was all the news I had. I didn't see really anything else. I mean, obviously this Fortnite update's coming out. Whatever. PUBG has a tournament in Germany, and part of the stage setting is like a full-sized supply crate, like what it would look like when it fell from the sky. And they had it on the back of a truck outside, and a guy just took a picture of it and was like, "Hey, look what was in Germany today." And apparently they weren't telling people where the event was, but it was just parked outside the convention center waiting to be taken to the loading dock. So that kind of was funny. Surprise. So they were inadvertently doing what Fortnite was doing with the they were just doing what Fortnite was
doing. Look who's copying who now, bitch.
It's funny how that works, ain't it, though?
Right.
I think it just those two games are the battle royale games are also different. The idea that they compete with each other is kind of weird to me. Like, I don't think they do. Cause, and it's not just me saying that because I like PUBG more than I like Fortnite, but
Yeah.
PUBG is much more realistic, I think, with the bullet drop and things like that, and with the ballistics and the sound and stuff like that. I think Fortnite is much speedier. Those games seem to go faster. I might be wrong, but they just seem to go a lot faster.
They go
And
extremely fast.
stealth is much less of an advantage. Like, it doesn't really matter as long as you're quick on the draw. Now, to be fair in PUBG, it's just as fair if you're quick on the draw. But let's be honest here: you can be quick on the draw in PUBG and lose a gunfight. If you're slow on the draw in Fortnite, you're not winning that gunfight because ballistics aren't on your side. So
Yeah.
that's my opinion, and that's gonna stay my opinion. Like, the fact that, like, it was like what we were talking about with the people on the server before. PUBG, I think Fortnite is on the Switch now, or it's going to be on the Switch.
I think it is, actually.
If it's on the Switch, like, I would play it on my Switch because it's a battle royale game you can play, like, on the go and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But as far as, like, console devoting, like, 50 minutes to a game, I still enjoy PUBG better than I enjoy Fortnite. And I've played both. I think before it's been construed that, or I can see how I've said things that would construe that I never played it because I don't want to. I have played Fortnite. I've played actually, like, 10 or 15 games. I just prefer PUBG.
It's the whole building mechanic. Don't like it.
I mean, honest to me, that's the thing I don't like. Is I don't like the building mechanic. I think that it aids people in having poor combat skills. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk out in an open field, but because I have a porta-fort in my fucking pocket, I can save myself. And I'm sitting here like, okay, but in PUBG, we have to walk around the rim of the hill because if we cut through the middle of the open field, as Mac and I have proven before, you'll get cut the fuck down.
But as we always prove, nobody dies in the fucking red zone unless you're a loser. Don't be losers, kids.
So yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up. I think we made it to 20 minutes, by the way. I think that's gonna wrap it up. Thank you for watching episode 5 of the Hell If I Know podcast. I know Matt six. Fuck. I'm not editing that out. Episode 6 of the Hell If I Know podcast. I'm sure Mac is happy that you all came back to watch and see us again. We'll just continue to be the crazy old coots in the cabin out back. Hope you guys come back next week. I hope you guys have a good week. And as always, be awesome. And thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.